Are you anxious to start your day? Are you looking for a dose of accountability? Guess what? You're in the right spot. Coming up, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. Yep, there it is. Oh, there's that guy. The guy with the white hat, the black glasses, the black shirt, the black pants. That's me. Oh, who's that? I'm Keith. Yeah, I'm Keith Bilous. I'm not anxious today, but if you're feeling anxious, we're going to dig into it. Welcome to Mornings in the Lab, where excuses expire and exceptional lives, they take root. Yes, they are. And listen, if you're hunting for gentle permission to stay comfortable, roll over. Hit the snooze button. Go back to sleep. Yeah, just go get on a podcast, because podcasts are boring. Yeah, you want to hang out for fun and excitement and get your ass out of bed motivation? You are on the right show. Hey, quick heads up. The lab where I'm hanging out today, the greenness, the lights, all this excitement happening behind you, R-rated. Not X-rated today, just R-rated. Although we might be talking about vulvas. What? Yeah. All right, so if you got any kids around, put the headphones on. Put the headphones on, hit pause. This isn't the morning motivation soundtrack. No, this is not Tom Cruise going down the runways of Maverick. No, this is the morning show with Keith, John, Marty, and producer Christina Flynn, and our guest coming up here today, Tom. Yeah, Tom's coming up here today on the show here. Today we're talking anxiety and transformation out of an anxious state. And we have a fellow who has done a lot of great work along the way here, coming up later on this morning on the show here. Hey, I'm going to pivot my attention to the screen here. I got Jimmy. Let's bring in the crew here this morning. I got Flynn. Flynn, I couldn't see the words here, so I kind of just missed through the words on the script here. So if we could just get that up there from that's awesome. I got Flynn here in black on black. I got Johnny. I don't know where the hell Johnny is. There's Johnny coming up here. John's in the black on black with the red beret, and we have our boy. We got our boy Marty Fit here joining us this morning as well. Good to see you, Marty. And of course, we got a guest coming up here on the show this morning as well, coming up at 15 minutes into the show here. We have our guest, Tom, joining us later this morning at 8:15 Eastern Time. Marty.
What up? Oh. What up?
You're here, brother, in black on black on black. We are all in black today, which is... that's just how we're all flowing. I got the white hat on.
Some things just look better in black.
This is true. This is true. Yes. Marty's got the red hair. Marty.
I like that, Johnny.
That's exactly what where Marty's coming from today. So Marty usually isn't here today, but I got the old text from Marty today. Last night he's like, "Hey man, I want to come hang out with you guys in the morning." I'm like, dude, as long as I'm here on the show, there's always a seat for C. Marty Fit, one of the OGs of Mornings in the Lab. Marty,
I thought y'all kicked me out.
Oh, fuck no, man. No, listen, I got a chair right here for you. Actually, no, the chair's over there. You know how it works here in the lab, Marty. It's just over there. Yeah. It's just over there. Right. Yeah, that's it.
Tina's been ducking me because every time I'm here, Tina's not here.
She's leaving you. She just
I don't know if something happened while I was gone, but Tina's been ducking me. So I'm just going to throw that out there.
I hear you. It's just sometimes that's just how it works. This is how it works. Hey guys, we're talking anxiety today. We got Tom Harmon here today. We're talking anxiety, talking transformation. When I knew we were having the conversation today, Johnny, I thought about you. We talk about it every single day. I know when you wake up in the morning, you count to get yourself out of that anxious state. I know, Marty, you and I have talked about it along the way. You and me, Christine, have talked about it along the way. I got kind of a sad story about a female who has had anxiety. About gentlemen that we got to have some awareness about. We're going to talk about that later on in the show. And hey, psychology. Listen, Marty, Johnny, Christina, psychology says if you can master this one habit, your relationship will last forever. Coming up later in the show here. One habit. And I know, Johnny, you're all about stacking habits. One habit, not two, not 10, one mother habit will make your relationship last forever. What do you think of that?
I can't wait to hear that.
I know. Yeah, I'm going to say it after Marty's gone at 7:35, 8:35 later today when Marty's in the truck. He's like, what the fuck's Bilous talking about? Yeah, sorry, Marty. Your relationships are failing because I didn't tell you to have it.
If you say it at 7:35, I'll listen to it. But if you say it at 7:40, I got to go.
As you're driving, right?
Yeah, I'll do. Okay, I'll listen to it in the car. There we go.
That's it. Hey, you're hanging out with the four of us this morning to the live with Keith and friends. I invite you to subscribe to the channel, like the channel, share it with your friends. Let's check into the comments. Who is here this morning? I bet you we have. Where's our friend Jack? There's Jack Dugan. Good morning, Jack. Hey guys, Jack sat down for a massive job opportunity yesterday, and I think it went pretty well for him. So I know Jack's been joining our journey as he's every single morning. So Jack, we're all rooting for you here. And of course, we got Ever for Tapia. We got Colin. Colin, this is not a meth lab. No, that's on that boring podcast on the other channel. The podcast that talks about doing meth crazy shit, that's just over there. This is a fun show with positive conversation, non-toxic conversation. Get your ass to get going. Good morning, Fontana. I see you there as well in the feeds here. Hey, guys, let's talk a little bit of current events. There's a massive event happening tonight in the little state of Texas. Marty, what's that all about?
I don't even know what's happening in Texas.
That's Richie Rich, baby.
Fuck. Really, Marty? You don't know what the hell's going on? Johnny.
That's Richie Rich.
Oh, my God. Even Anderson.
Christina?
Of course, Marty, of course Anderson wouldn't know what the hell's going on. I got to think Christina knows what's going on today. There's a massive cultural moment happening.
Well, what the fuck is it? Jesus Christ, spit it out.
I guess I got to take my glasses off for this one.
Tonight?
Tonight.
Or tomorrow night.
Streaming live on Netflix. The greatest boxing match of all time.
Oh, yeah, I thought that was tomorrow night.
That's Rumble. Tyson.
No, it's actually tonight. Yeah, that is tonight.
Oh, shit. That's tonight? Fuck.
Oh, Marty's. We've just disappointed Marty because he can't go.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I'm thinking it's tomorrow night the whole time.
So, you know what? Keith has his opinion on this one. May I offer it?
You're gonna offer whether we like it or not. So spit it out, brother. Come on, baby.
So I know there's a fight happening, but I am convinced we've been watching this cultural shift happening on Netflix for the last 2 years, and it actually has nothing to do with what we are witnessing in front of our eyes.
I know where you're going. Right
Marty knows it because Marty's heard this rant a few times.
Yeah,
it's actually.
I'm right there with you too.
Yeah, it's actually what's happening behind the scenes. You see, culture is moving back to so listen, culture is not linear. We go through cycles, right? So we went through a world of black and white television, color television, live radio. And then all of a sudden, the world became digital. So, oh, hey, we can record shit. We don't have to go live. Let's just record everything. So then we all went to recording shit in betas and VHS and podcasts and digital. And then the world's like, oh, wait a minute. All the money is made in live broadcasts.
Yep.
Netflix is like, oh, hey, how can we make money doing live? We're an on-demand company. Oh, I know. We're going to start doing live stuff. So last year they did the Love is Blind live reunion. Flopped, failed. Yeah, just because why? They didn't have the technical infrastructure. And then about 6 months ago, they did the Tom Brady roast. Who cares? It was live. That's why. And guess what? That was a good one. And it survived. The technical infrastructure worked. So what's Uncle Keith's point here? Well, coming up later this year is Netflix is live streaming NFL football. So what they need to do is prove
shit. I didn't know that.
They need to prove to the audience and themselves that the future home of the world's biggest morning show, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends, is going to be on Netflix in the future. Yeah, it's a true story. Yeah, so they're setting all the foundation for all this live streaming stuff so that they can walk Keith, John, Marty, and Flynn in the door in about 2 years from now when they're looking for a morning show to kick off the days on Netflix. True story, Johnny. It's exactly why. Yeah, I'm just telling you.
Yeah, there's no question that, like you said, everything goes through cycles, even like fashion. Christ, bell bottoms leave and then they come back. Was it, the shoes that are square in the front, they leave and they come back. It's just, you figure the attention for something like this in our culture is about 20 years. It just keeps looping around.
It's just a loop, man. Just like your life, Johnny. It's just a big old loop. So when you and I are young again, all this shit's going to be relevant again. And Fontana, you're right, man. We are not going to cater to the upstart to Netflix. No, by the time so Netflix is just HBO from 25 years ago when you think about it, right? It's just a big cycle of life. Just a big cycle of life. Hey, we got Tom Harmon hanging out in the green room. Somebody who I think he's sitting there just on his hands and knees, just anxiously waiting, or else he might be doing just lines of coke, getting ready for the show. He's like, just just getting ready, just back and forth, just fucking jack. Oh, I'm getting on the show.
Hold on.
Huh?
You know this guy?
No, I never met him before.
You just made a Coke joke?
Oh yeah, because he's making Coke jokes to me too.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well,
That's out of context.
Let me just tell a quick story from yesterday. I had a buddy of mine. Reached out, and he basically sent a text. And I've been talking to him on the phone. I haven't talked to him in years. He was one of the people that I kind of had to push a little further away as I started to refocus my life. And, we trade texts once in a while, and he's kind of in the neutral zone. Well, yesterday he slipped back onto that kind of that, call it not terribly negative, but negative enough that there was no response. Because what we don't do, we don't respond to negativity.
Just silence.
That's one of those moments in church.
Right, and sit back and think about it for a second.
That's good though. I am going to tell you that is certainly one thing you have taught me, John Anderson, because I will say in the past I probably would have ranted on negative things, but what I've really learned is that it's kind of not worth the energy.
Yeah, when I showed up here, I was like, these motherfuckers are chasing their tails, talking about shit that's never going to go away, and there's never going to get anything better. So let's just refocus. When something negative comes our way, it just goes by like a fart in the goddamn wind.
And Marty, wouldn't you agree? Like, when we were hanging out, we'd have fun ranting on bullshit and shit like that. But you have to admit, we've actually kind of pivoted our attitude to more positive stuff. And not that we don't like to have fun about negative ranting stuff, but it is actually much more enjoyable just to rant about positive things because everybody can. It's easy to bitch about being negative. That's like dropping F-bombs when you're a comedian, right? When you're a comedian, all you do is swear. That's like a lazy comedian because you put no thought into your words.
I mean, if people want to go to a place where they can watch people bitch about negative shit, they can go anywhere for that. Yes. They want to come to a place where we're going to take and twist their minds from different perspectives and staying positive. That's what we represent.
Yes. Absolutely. I know what we represent. Tom Harmon's coming up here in 90 seconds. I think we got to reduce the anxiety. Fontana, I see you in the comments, brother. You come hang out with us. We're going to get that negativity out of your brain, brother. But listen, let's get this going here, Jimmy. Yep. I like that sound. Woo, baby. All right, Tom, you're coming up next, brother. So get that one. Just clean up the table. Just clean the table up before you get on the show. Clean the nose off and everything because we just want to make sure that everything's good for the camera. You know what I'm talking about. I know, Jimmy. I was looking at the wrong. I had the John Anderson effect because I thought that the camera was over there. I just listen. Are your mornings setting you up to win, or are you just a loser? Nah, you're not a loser. If you're hanging out on this show, you're not a loser. This is the home of non-toxic conversations. We invite every loser on the planet to this show because I'm one with you. Oh, yeah. I look in the mirror, loser. True story. All joking aside, your future, it's not built on big moments. No. It's built in small, daily decisions. The ones you make under pressure. Those ones that I'm under pressure, make the decision. Those choices become habits. Those habits shape who you are. And listen, we are in the month of November. No month. It's about cutting distractions. It's about cutting excuses. Tomorrow, it's going to give you another chance to roll over and hit that snooze button. It's going to give you a chance to roll over and not be accountable. So tomorrow, it's going to give you another chance to act boldly, to face that fear, to build the person you want to be. But the question is simple. Oh, baby, that question is simple. Hang on what I'm going to say next. I'm looking at you, Fontana. I'm looking at you, Dugan. The question is simple. What are you going to choose today? There you go. It's accountability check-in. That's how we work here at this show. 8:15 Eastern time every single day. Words, conversation, thoughts to inspire you and to move you out of bed to help you feel accountable and not hit that snooze button. All right. Are you feeling inspired? Good. That's what I'm hoping you are. If you're not, go change the channel. Go to the Boring Podcast. Now it's time to hold yourself accountable to what is coming up next. We're going to talk about how to turn your anxiety into transformation. We got our guests here coming up in the next 12 minutes. Let's talk men's mental health. When anxiety hits, most men reach for a drink instead of reaching out. Today's guest, he lived that reality. Then he engineered a complete transformation. Yep. Tom Tom Harmon didn't just face his anxiety, but he turned it into a framework that's liberating men from silence. Listen, Johnny, Marty, lean into what I'm going to say next. Johnny, Tommy, from drinking 260 plus beers a month to becoming the panic attack perfecter, this gentleman's morning decisions rewrote everything. Tom, welcome.
Good morning.
In the lab, my friend. Good to have you here this morning.
How are you? Hold on a sec.
Okay, good. Yes.
I'm ready.
All right. He's speaking our language. Good sign already. What's up, Tom?
How's it going, guys?
Good to see you here, Tom. Listen, man, we were having some fun in the comments over on LinkedIn yesterday, and actually, since we met you, we celebrated you in the Creator Spotlight a couple weeks back. We got you on the show.
I saw that.
Excited to have you here today. And Marty and Johnny, I'm excited that Tom got the black memo here today as well. Tom is in black on black with his long hair flowing off his head, just like John's hair, and the glasses and everything. You guys just styling, brother. Just styling. So, Tommy, we ask everybody to start the show to get you eased into the conversation. How do you start your day, brother? What is Tom Harmon's morning routine?
How do I start my day? I typically get up around 10 to 6. And so that first hour for me is super important because it's before my 2-year-old gets up.
Oh, yes.
Because once my son gets up, like that's me. I don't want to be the person who's sitting on my laptop and sitting on my phone. I actually spend the first hour of my day, believe it or not, doing LinkedIn stuff. So if it's like growing my network, DMing people, talking to people like you, like I try to spend that first hour trying to do that type of activity, get it out of the way, make sure it's done so I don't have to have it weighing on me for the rest of the day. And then as soon as 7 o'clock rolls around, it's first hour, get my son up, make sure he doesn't pee the bed. If he has, clean it up, make sure he has breakfast, get him dressed, make sure he brushes his teeth and get him out the door, which takes anywhere between 40 to 90 minutes, depending on how difficult he wants to be that day. So that's typically how I start every single day, is a little bit of LinkedIn in the morning, kind of get my brain going, and then focusing on getting my 2.5-year-old out the door.
Has that routine always been your thing, Tommy, or have you been? Is it a change in motion? When the kid comes, you're like, oh, I guess got to change the routine.
Oh, big time! Like they always say, like when you have a kid, it changes who you are. Like it doesn't change who you are as a person, but it definitely changes what your priorities are.
Yes. It's
like my priorities before having a kid weren't getting up and making sure my child was fed. Like that was never a priority for me. So it changes. No. It's like the whole productivity mental health space. It's like there might be one framework you read online and it might work for that person. What I do might work for me. Doesn't mean it's going to work for everyone.
Yes.
So like everyone's routine. It's like working out. Like you can open up Flex magazine and see a workout, and it might work the best for some people. Some people react to different things more than others. It's a matter of finding what's perfect for you.
Yeah, we talk about not comparing ourselves to others often on this show because comparison's a killer, right? You start comparing yourself to somebody else, you're going to you're probably not going to win, right? So, Tom, take us, Marty, John, lean into this one, man. Take us to spring of 2016. 48 hours that changed everything for you. When did you realize that your silence had become a prison? And then that morning decision started breaking those walls.
So spring 2016, I was 29. I still kind of had hair, not really though. It was gone a long time before that. And I felt terrible every single day. Like my stomach was a disaster. I was taking 2 to 3 Gravol every single day just to get by.
Yeah.
I wasn't puking. I felt terrible. I was going to my doctor every 2 weeks being like, is it my stomach biome? Do I need to have a camera down my mouth? Do I need to have a camera up my ass? Like, what is it? What's going on? And I was going through tests and inconclusive results, scans of my organs, because all I wanted was a closed loop. I wanted to know what it was, what was happening. So one day I did what everyone does, is they go on the internet to try to figure out what's wrong with them. Yeah. And after getting through conclusions of thinking, oh, I have this type of cancer, I have this type of disease, I came across like mental health, anxiety, and I was like, you know what, maybe like your gut's so complicated, right? It can be affected by so many different things.
Yes.
And then I went, into my family doctor for probably the 7th time in the past couple of weeks. And as soon as I started to mention this, maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's this, I had my first panic attack in my doctor's office.
Oh, wow.
So a panic attack is essentially, it's an overreaction to like a physiological response. And all that is it's like if you're about to come on a live podcast, or if you're about to do a presentation.
No, live show.
Or a live show, sorry.
Thank
Or
you.
if like you get a text from your partner that says we need to talk, like that's like you're nervous, you're sweaty, you feel like you're gonna shit yourself, you feel like something terrible is gonna happen.
Oh, you're describing John every day.
Yeah. but there's
It's
an
like
event
5 times a day.
but there's an event you can attach to it. So like when that event happens, like
Yes.
the anxiety goes away. With a panic attack, you have nothing to attach it to. So your brain, your fight or flight response keeps trying to look for something, can't find it. Then your response goes up, and then it keeps catastrophizing and catastrophizing and catastrophizing until it climaxes to a point where you feel like you're going to die. It's one of the things that if you've experienced one, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't, it sounds terrifying, but it's still really hard to explain. So then I'm sitting there in my doctor's office, fresh after a panic attack, being like, well, I'm never leaving this room ever again. So now what? So 2 prescriptions, an idea to go to therapy. And I was like, okay. So then went downstairs, gave them my prescription, immediately ran out of the building because I was too scared to be around people. And I just did laps of the parking lot for 20 minutes because I'm like, I don't know what to do. So then I finally had the guts to get my prescription, run to my car, white knuckle it all the way home. And then I didn't leave my house for 9 days.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Johnny, when you hear talk, because John, you and I have talked about anxiety. You've been very vulnerable with your anxiety, and with myself and Marty on the show here. When you hear Tom talk, are you relating to some of the things that he's saying, Johnny?
Yeah, I mean, I've been dealing with this shit from the jump. It starts first thing when I wake up. I just made a post about it yesterday. But here, I mean, the way that I look at it, this is just me. I'm not saying that I've got the program rigged for everyone. I'm definitely not giving medical advice, but anxiety for me is something you could almost compare it to a substance. If you don't battle it every day, like if it's almost like as a sugar addict, right? I'm going to have an addictive personality. I have to manage that personality. I have to manage my anxiety. And if I don't manage it every day, it just continues to escalate. And I have to be really, really get down to, okay, am I truly managing this, or am I just telling myself that I am? Because if I'm not actually getting myself, if I'm not actually feeling me lower my anxiety, that means it just keeps climbing. And then pretty soon it gets to a point where it's running me. And once anxiety grabs a hold and starts running me, I've lost control of my management. And if I lose control of my management, I can only imagine where I would end up.
Tom Harmon, we were joking yesterday about you being on the show, and I'm very, very grateful for your vulnerability and offering up your journey. But in all seriousness, as you were getting onto the show today and going to bed last night, like, were you anxious coming up to the show this morning? I know I was having some fun on the monologue, and I was trying to do whatever I could to lighten the mood. Like, do those things help, or were you one anxious mofo coming into this conversation with a bunch of dudes sitting in their basement in their parents' house?
So normally I wouldn't be. Normally I wouldn't be anxious because I've been on podcasts. I've never been on a live show, which is different.
Yes, it is. And it's crazy, right, Tom? Because it's not, and let's lean into this. It's not different, but it is, right? Because a lot of people who, the moment you go live, what happens, Tom? Anxiety, right? It's like, oh, wait a minute, I'm going to make a mistake, right, Tom? Yeah, and it's not the actual event. It's the time leading up to it. So I wasn't nervous at all, and then I'm in the green room, so watching you guys do your thing, and then as soon as you mention my name, then it becomes real, and just like a little bit of fluttering anxiety happens. Yeah. Not to the point where I want to run away, but it's just like, okay, there it is, just to remind yourself that you're human. Yes. And like John said it perfectly. It's like you can't think your way out of it. You can't just push it away and wait for it to go away. Yes. One of those things that you have to address. You have to face it head on, because it fuels off your fear. Like if you're scared of it, it knows. But if you turn around and face it, it's like, oh shit, I don't like this, and the anxiety goes away. Dude, I can relate to that. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Just on that level, one thing that like when you said you were in the green room and you heard your name and you got that wiggle,
that's something that, because obviously in my career, a lot of different types of performances.
Yes.
I dealt with the same thing. And I would constantly remind myself, that the fear and excitement are very difficult to tell apart in different moments. And so when I would think I'd be addressing fear and anxiety, I would say, no, this is fucking great. I'm excited. Yeah, I'm getting ready to walk out in front of 40,000 people. This is what I've been working my whole life for shit like this. Am I really fucking? No, I'm just I'm so excited. It feels, it's a little confusing, but yes, let's go. I'm excited. And I would basically kind of help my brain recognize that, hey, yes, this is a really, really similar feeling, but what is it really? The fear of not getting to that position, that's fear, right? I'm here now. This is fucking exciting. But I had to really reframe my mind in that moment. And that became really powerful for me.
It's interesting you said, Johnny, because you talk about anxiety and excitement, and Tom talks about the same thing, a sense of excitement coming on the show. Then we mention his name, then it goes to anxiety. In many ways, I can relate to the same thing with traveling. I get all excited to go traveling, and then I get on the airplane, and then I have this sense of anxiety. It's like, oh, I'm moving out of my routines, I'm moving out of my normalcy, and it's this, and so to hear you have that awareness, Tom, I applaud you for the courage to, as you were going down the journey, because we've all done it. We open up the old Google. Now we open up Chat GPT. We self-diagnose ourselves. You put yourself in a hole, Tom, for a while, didn't you, when you did that?
Yeah, you think, I remember vividly, being at where I used to live, laying on my couch, watching The Office on Netflix on repeat. And just laying down, staring at the ceiling, being like, I'm never going to be able to have a family. I'm never going to be able to work.
Dude.
I'm never going to be able to have kids. This is it. I was like, this is it for me, because you have no hope. You don't, because you have no proof to yourself that you've been able to get through this before.
Yes.
So it's a terrible experience. That's why, and no one talks about it. No one does. My own father.
Yes.
And he passed away in 2018. Yes. And so in the 37 years, or however old I was, 30 years that I got to know him, he mentioned his struggle with mental health one time. He saw me go through thousands of dollars in therapy, prescription drugs, not leaving the house. He mentioned it once. That was it. So he didn't talk about it, because most men don't, because they're scared. It's all fear-based.
So let me ask you this. You've been hanging on those for 12 minutes. We're going to go to the C. Marty Fit Tip in about 30 seconds. But let me ask you this, Tom. You've been hanging on those for 12 minutes. You've been hanging on those for about 25 minutes, 10 in the green room. Are you still anxious, or are you settled, ready, and having some fun with this whole thing?
No, I'm good.
Awesome.
Zero anxiety.
Awesome. And that's what we're trying to do here on the show. We're trying to create a safe space to have conversations like this, because I battle anxiety. Johnny battles anxiety. I know Marty does. We all do, but nobody talks about it. So this is the place we want to offer that conversation. But we're going to do that. We're going to continue the conversation with Tom Harmon, anxiety transformation, after the C. Marty Fit Tip, coming up right now. Marty.
Let's rock and roll. All right. Got a different type of fit tip today, but it's still going to be a good one. It always is. All right. We're going to talk about heart health, right? So fitness isn't just about cutting the salt, running marathons, looking the best, ego lifting. That's not what it's just about. So strength training isn't just for show. All right. This is a secret weapon for your heart. All right. Building muscle improves blood flow, lowers blood pressure, keeps your ticker strong, and helps with your metabolism. All right. Stress is not your enemy, but it's about how do you handle stress. All right. How do I respond to stress? That's something we talk about on here a lot. And one way, as far as exercising, we can help with that. Leverage activities like heavy lifting or high intensity interval training, known as HIIT, to channel stress into positive energy. All right. Track what's under the hood. All right. What is your health like on the inside? All right. You might look great on the outside, but what's going on the inside? Regular checkups for blood pressure, cholesterol, and inflammation markers like CRP are your cheat codes for staying ahead. Remember, a strong heart fuels a stronger life. So keep your heart health in mind. That's the fitness tip for today.
For Martin, C. Marty Fit. And I know Marty's got a rock and roll here, but Marty, can I keep you for a minute, brother, before you go?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, nation. I teased something at the beginning of the show. I got a life hack for you. And I want Marty to hear this life hack. If you are in a relationship or want to be in a relationship and you are looking for the number one habit to master, Tom, the number one habit to master in every relationship right now, Business Athlete Nation, to last forever, cuddling. That's it. Cuddling. Get close to your lover. Get close to your partner. Get close to your husband. Get close to your wife and cuddle. Johnny cuddles with Terry. Keith cuddles with Lauren. Marty cuddles with himself. Cuddles with Aaron. Tom cuddles with, I'm not so sure he cuddles with. But cuddling is the key. Psychologists and science have found that cuddling doesn't have to be sex, doesn't have to be all craziness. Just get close to your partner and cuddle. If you can master cuddling, nation, you are going to last forever. There you go. Johnny, comment. Marty, comment. I know you got a roll, Marty. Any comments on the cuddling comment?
Hey, I totally agree, man. I think cuddling is underrated, man.
I agree.
Makes you feel good, you know?
It does.
Gives you that warm feeling.
It does. And I'm thinking, Tom, cuddling also helps reduce anxiety because I know it does for me.
Absolutely. Like the physical touch from another human being doesn't have to be someone that you're like married with. It can be like if you're a dude, like hug your guy friends.
Yes.
Like,
thank you. Yes.
Like, why not?
I agree. I agree
too.
I agree. All right, Marty. I know you got to rock and roll, brother. You guys have an awesome day today. We'll catch up with you over the weekend.
Sounds good. Where's Johnny, man? He's still in the bathroom?
Yeah, Johnny's out cleaning the cutter, I think, along the way here. So as Johnny's doing that, we're going to continue our chat with Tom Harmon here joining us mornings in the lab with Keith and friends. Yep. Marty's are going to rock and roll. He'll be back here Monday morning.
Tom, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too, Marty.
Yep. All right. I see you, Keith.
See you, brother. All right.
Yep.
So, Tom, let's get into your expertise. And here's what I love, man. You've taken anxiety, you've taken the challenge that you've experienced in your life, and you're helping others. You've turned your anxiety into expertise, and we shared some humor yesterday. Like, hey, Keith, if I have a panic attack on the show, I'm actually now, I'm practicing what I'm preaching. But Tom, I want you to break down your framework. There's somebody listening right now who's anxious. There's somebody who's starting their day right now who's anxious. There's somebody who's questioning why they're feeling just like you did, and they're kind of going through their gut. Like, what the hell's wrong with me? Tom, how do you help?
Like I think.
How do you help? Yeah, go ahead. How do you help men identify when comforts become their cage? Like, what's the first step?
So I try to look at three things. And one of the most important things that kind of reflects on what I talked about with my dad is you have to talk about it. Because if you're not talking about it, it's in your brain rattling around. You're telling yourself terrible stories. And like one thing I read a long time ago that I really love is your brain can lie to your body, but your body can't lie to your brain. So your brain's going to tell yourself all these terrible stories where you're going to feel like crap. You think the world's going to end. You feel like you're going to have a heart attack and all that stuff. But it's not true. So I like to focus on three things. So talking about it, also diagnose what the root of it is. So not necessarily, I don't think we need to diagnose like what happened in your childhood or what happened there. Like that's what therapy's for and what's great for. I think like, how's your sleep? Are you moving your body? Are you exercising at all? Are you getting steps? Are you getting outside? Or do you just have a ring light that's getting your only sunlight for the day? Is that it? Are you getting any kind of actual nature in your life? The social aspect is super important. Like this stuff is great, like even what we're doing now. Yeah. But the actual human interaction, maybe even cuddling, is great for your mental health. That stuff too. Other things is like, what's your work-life balance like? Does it exist?
There's no such thing as work-life balance. Let's lean into that because there isn't one.
No. And because of technology, it's like your to-do list is never going to be done. Yes. There's always going to be more emails. If inbox 0 is a complete load of shit and it's just going to result in more emails. Yes. Like you're setting yourself up to failure. And like say you could think, oh, I'm gonna push through 20 minutes more and send more emails. You're just gonna get more responses. So like, what are you doing? And then the other aspect is drugs and alcohol. Yes. Like, are you drinking a lot? Are you smoking too much weed? Are you doing whatever kind of drugs? Yes. Those 6 areas can really kind of pinpoint where sort of your root causes are. And then it's not about, okay, I need to get 10 hours of sleep. I need to do a CrossFit workout every day. I need to walk a marathon out in the woods, see 40 friends, work 2 hours a day and not drink anything. It's like you find 1 or 2 areas that we think are causing it. Yeah. You make a 1% improvement suggestion. We keep each other accountable. You do that on repeat, and then you build up a stack of undeniable proof that you're able to do these things, and then the anxiety will slowly fade away. That's
Well,
all.
it sounds like what you're talking about, and myself and John, Marty, we talk about it often, which is you have to say no to a bunch of shit before you can actually say yes to something that's important to you. And that helps remove anxiety too, doesn't it, Tom?
Yeah, you have to say no like you're paid to do so.
Right.
It's hard. And it's hard because saying no is anxious because you feel like you're disappointing someone. It's like every day we say no to like, oh, if you're trying to start a business, I'm saying no to Instagram and starting a TikTok and starting a live show. You're saying no to that every day.
Yes.
But realistically, it might seem like a good idea to add more things to your plate, but it's not good for you. You're just gonna have them linger in the back of your brain and wake you up at 3 a.m. being like, shit, I need to work on that thumbnail, or I need to work on this, and then your brain sort of piles into a heap of crap, and it doesn't go well for you.
Yeah, I like the fact that you're talking about there's all these different, call it pillars, elements of what makes it work. But when it comes down to it, everybody's so different. So you grab that one where that little bit of daily effort is going to move that needle forward on a daily basis. You know, don't go after the one. A lot of times doing the one's the hardest is going to be, it's intimidating, but you don't have to even do very well at whatever this thing is. You just got to be doing it every day, and you're going to get better and better, you know. And like for me, one of the things I have to do is I have to have some self-evaluation immediately in the morning. Which rabbit hole is my mind going down? Because most times it's going down the wrong one. So I got to pull it back out, go into a brief state of gratitude, get it going down the right hole, and then I can kind of start moving into doing my stuff. I mean, I just made a video on this. You know, I wake up, in many cases, you know, I have this thought, I think I'm depressed or whatever, some stupid fucking thought that my brain cooks up.
Yes.
And so literally I realize, okay, that's bullshit. I just, you know, and I start moving, you know, I just do a few things, drink some water, get dressed, you know, just do a few little things, the easy wins. Then I start shedding all of that negative shit. So, but for me, that first thing out of bed is imperative, because if I hit the snooze, I get back in bed, those thoughts are going to flower. Now, once those things take a hold of me, I'm going to have a hard time turning it around for the day.
Yes. Tom, the way you've explained it, in many ways, I'm going to suggest that you've made it sound really easy. And I mean it as a compliment to you, because you're like, yeah, I woke up and I had this problem. I Googled it, went to the doctor, realized, oh, I got to talk about shit, got some prescription and made it easy. And I'm making a point of oversimplifying to make a point here. But let's be honest, every single day is a battle. Johnny talked about it. Every single day we wake up and there's an anxious thing happening. There's a decision to be made. There's something happening. Tom, how do you give you permission to begin again when you feel like you've just solved it? Right on. I got my anxiety solved for today. Then you get through the day, and then you go to bed and you wake up and you're like, oh, fuck, I'm doing this again. You know what I'm getting at, Tom? Because it's like a cycle for some of us. And I like to talk to our audience about giving ourselves permission to begin again. And male to male, Tom is like, no, it's okay, Keith. You fell down, man. Stand up. I got your back, brother. I got you. I'm going to give you a hug. I'm going to help you move forward. How do you give yourself permission, Tom, to begin again?
Yeah, like the most important relationship we have is the one with ourselves.
Yes.
Like, as cliche and like woo-woo, healing crystals, dream catchers, all that shit, like it makes it sound ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I remember at one point through my like healing process, I used to look at myself in the mirror and tell myself that I loved myself 10 times a day for like a month. And it helps, because you're building up these little tiny wins of your relationship with yourself. It's the smallest things, like what John said when he said, like, oh, I feel a bit depressed, or I feel anxious. That's actually a better thing to say than I am anxious. Because
say that again.
There's a big difference between how you frame it. So a lot of people will be like, oh, I am depressed, or I am anxious. No, you're not anxious. You just feel anxious.
Feeling.
Because
that's, you can separate those two things.
Right? Yes,
it's really important. And back to your original question about how do you give yourself permission to like keep going. That's the hardest part, is because with physical ailments, or like you get sick or working out or anything, it's very like, oh, it's very linear. It's like you get sick, you get a cough, then you get progressively worse, then you feel like really crappy for 2 days, and then all of a sudden you get better. You know, you can get your taste again, you can taste stuff, and then 2 weeks later you're good.
Yes.
With mental health, you can be doing meditation, you can be doing breath work, you can drink a ton of water, you can be working out, you can be feeling great for 2 weeks in a row, and then you can just catapult into the ground.
Yes.
For no exterior reason.
Yes.
And that's so hard to deal with, because you're like, because your brain is like, I'm doing all the right things, it's not working, I should just quit. So the important thing to do is you really have to zoom out. You be like, okay, I might be worse than I was 2 days ago, but if you look back and be like, you know what, I've been doing this stuff for 6 months, and I have 2 bad days a month instead of 28 days a month. And it's just a matter of continuing, and you're building up those little tiny wins to give yourself the confidence that, you know what, I can do this, because every single day you're going to tell yourself that you can't. So you have to keep going, and that's why it's good to do it with someone like, it doesn't have to be a therapist. It doesn't have to even be me. It can be someone you know, like John or Keith, who just is right there along with you to help you get better each and every day. And the hardest part is that doesn't exist for most people because no one talks about it.
Tom, you're so relatable. I'm loving this conversation because you're so relatable to myself and to people listening right now. And that's what I think we need, is just humans need to be relatable and hear stories that they can lean into. Johnny.
Yeah, well, the question was, how do you give yourself permission to start again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that right there is framed improperly. And if someone and I'm not attacking your question, I'm attacking how people position their minds. It's like, I don't give myself permission to restart brushing my teeth. I just never stop doing it. Right. So what I do give myself permission is, if I get a fucking cavity, even though I brush my teeth every day, it's just part of life. Even though I don't have any fucking cavities and I'm 52 years old. Come on. but what I'm getting at is even though when we do what we do, shit's still going to happen. So I come from the side of, I'm not giving myself permission to start again, because I'm not going to stop with my management, but I'm going to give myself the pass when my management system fails and I need to alter it to get back to where I want to be. That makes sense?
It does. Absolutely.
Because I'm gonna do what I do every day, and what I do every day is going to work, and then sometimes it won't, and as it doesn't work, I have to twist it a little bit. It's a constant management process. So again, I give myself more, rather than the permission to restart again, I give myself a pass on the fact that when the system needs to be adjusted and I slip, it's okay.
Yeah. Tom, as we're wrapping up our chat here this morning with you, and I'm extremely grateful for you joining us here today. I'm extremely grateful for your vulnerability, and I'm going to tell you right now, you're welcome here anytime. Like, just the vibe you bring, your energy, your positive, just the way you're bringing yourself to the table is just really encouraging. I want to ask you this: what's the one common theme when a guy knocks on your door, says, "Tom, I need help"? What's the common response?
The common thing my brain goes immediately to is that I'm typically the first person they've said. They always say, you're the first person I've said anything about this to.
Oh.
Like, I made a post the other week. It's like, I'm the guy your wife wants you to talk to. Because I speak to like friends of mine and it's like, I wish I could get my husband to talk to you. And like, can you imagine how hard of a conversation that is? Hey, I met this dude on LinkedIn. Can you talk to this dude you've never met? I met this guy. Can you talk to him about something you don't want to talk to even me about? Like, it's hard. It's so hard.
You spent 25 minutes with myself and John, and the way I'm yes, I'm blowing smoke up your ass. But the way you address the camera, the way your demeanor is very comforting. Like, I can see why men and people would want to open up to you. I do, because I'm like, oh, this guy. You're looking in the camera. You're looking at me. I'm feeling your presence. So it's interesting to hear you say that, and I guess I'm not surprised. Like, yeah, go talk to Tom. You're like, okay, go talk to Tom, right?
And like, it's for the wives and partners, it's like they don't want to ask their partner because they're anxious about it. Because anxiety is just fear of something that might happen.
Yes.
It's like, oh, they might freak out. How are they going to react? Am I going to ruin my relationship by having them work on something that they should? Like, it's hard because no one talks about it.
75% of the shit that we worry about only
massive value
never even comes to reality.
It's true. Yeah. So, Tom, let's wrap it up. For everyone watching who's trapped in that silent struggle, they've heard some things we've said. Maybe they've seen your post somewhere on LinkedIn. Maybe they've seen you just around. How can they connect with you? How can they learn more about your anxiety transformation system? And how can we make sure that there's somebody out there that needs their life maybe changed or transformed or just upped a little bit with some help? How can they get a hold of Tom Harmon?
So the best way to get a hold of me is to go on LinkedIn and search for Tom Harmon. And then there's a bunch of those. So you might as well search for the Panic Attack Professional and I'll come up.
Awesome. And Tom, maybe I'm just going to throw, I'm an open thinker, maybe an open thinker. Maybe there's a segment in the future here where we help men who are anxious come to the show with you, me, Johnny, and Marty. And we help people go through those feelings of what it's feeling like and then getting the reps in and actually recognizing it's not that bad. You know what I mean? Tom was like, hey, it's like, okay, you're going to come join the show with we're going to have you as a co-host. We're going to have somebody who's just an anxious motherfucker. And you're going to be like, it's actually going to be okay. And then they're going to get through it and they're going to realize that, oh, it was actually an okay experience.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, Tom Harmon joining us here. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends.
Thank you, Tom.
You come back home and you know this, man. You have yourself an awesome day. The Panic Professional, Tom Harmon, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. And Tom, we got this guy coming up right now, and he's got a lifestyle tip that sounds just like this. Have a good one, Tommy.
Take care.
Take care, buddy. All right, Johnny, you're up, brother. Let's get after it. Jory Jansen's up next. Talking the protein break.
That's some new sound effects for me. Look out. All right. Check this out. How do you win an argument? Great question. There is no winner to an argument. How do you win an argument is you disengage, you leave. You do what you got to do to avoid the argument. We live in a time right now where it seems that there's a lot of confrontation and people tend to want to argue. Well, someone could come to me and say, you know what? 3 + 3 is 25. And I'll say, you know what? You are right. I have spotted the fact that that person wants to argue and I want nothing to do with that argument because I know me arguing about something is not going to help me first. Probably not going to help them, even though they think that arguing is something they need to do at the time. So just think to yourself, is it really worth engaging with someone that you know wants to have an argument when all it's going to do is prompt you to have a distraction in what you're doing? It's going to cause you to have a feeling of something other than you're looking for. An argument doesn't bring happiness. Arguments usually bring sadness, anxiety, and a whole list of other things that we want nothing to do with. So ask yourself a question. Is it really worth having an argument, or is it just easier to agree and walk away? Rock and roll.
There you go, John Anderson. I got the right sound effect for you, Johnny. Dude, that's a good one that you drop on the table here this morning. You know, we got guys starting their day, partners and spouses and so forth. And you know, we went to bed last night. We're like, we got in a fight with our partner. Woke up this morning. Do we want to keep that argument going? Hey, Jory, we got Jory Jansen joining us this morning with the protein break. But I'm sure you probably heard John's comment there. But arguing is a tough thing, right? We're going to get into Jory's conversation, 5 underrated foods for peak energy and recovery. But before we do that, let's just hang on your comment, John, about arguing.
Well, the thing that I want people to realize is, you know, I get a lot of weird shit coming at me.
No.
Yeah. And the simplest thing for me to do, like, let's just say it was in person. Somebody walks up to me and every once in a while, like some little guy come by, you know, I bet I can kick your ass. I'll look at him and say, you know, you probably can. And it's over. I don't need to defend myself.
Yes.
I just need to get away from the situation, you know? And if he comes back again, you know, he doesn't like that, because sometimes they can tell you're releasing him. Then you got to come with a little comment. Say, look, okay, if you want to fight, first rule is no hitting in the face. Of course, that's if you're fighting, you're going to hit in the face.
Of course.
And if he still comes at you to say, look, brother, I'm sorry, I'm a lover, not a fighter. Can I give you a kiss first? Whatever you got to do, but what you're doing is you're disengaging from whatever it is that he feels he needs to prove. And the further you get away from it, the less power he has.
Yeah, arguing is a fascinating thing because, you know, I really believe words can diffuse arguments. It's just you got to find a way to get out of the emotion, right? And be a hawk, be a dove instead of a hawk. So, all right, we're hanging out with Jory, John, and Keith, the protein break here every single day here with Jory Jansen. Jory, I want to talk superfoods with you this morning. I want to talk underrated foods for peak energy and performance. And I thought I'd throw you two on the stage here to talk superfoods, that in air quotes around superfoods. And, we hear people talking about, oh, you got to eat beets. Oh, you got to have, is it kefir? You got to eat kefir, drink kefir. You need spirulina. All these products provide surprising benefits for energy, endurance, and muscle recovery. And Jory, bear with me for a second while you and I team up on our friend John here. I just like the crazy, simple bullshit. I don't know what the hell this spirulina stuff is. I just eat ground beef in a bag. And I don't know, kefir, what the hell is that? I don't know if I can eat beets. So, Jory, I don't think John knows what superfoods are. Let's talk superfoods with John Anderson, Jory, today.
Well, let me just lay something down really, really simply before we start. First off, I'm a big one on when I say superfoods, I talk about how a food responds to a person, not a generalized superfood. That's what I call it. But here's the thing. You can find every goddamn superfood on the planet. You can be eating that shit. And if you accompany it with a Big Mac, it doesn't fucking matter.
Well, isn't that true? Right?
Let's just start off with that. So let's just lay down the platform. If you're going to superfood, if you're going to be a superfood person, stop fucking going through the drive-through.
Jory, there's your soundbite for all of your every.
We're done.
So, Jory, every time you go into a session, just take your soundbite and say, here's my friend John. That's it. I'm done. See you guys later.
Absolutely. Like this is like one of the main reasons why I have to keep coming back, because it's just so real. Like seriously.
Yes.
There is no such thing as a superfood.
Thank you. But then why do we talk about them? I know it's headlines, but all of a sudden you're like, okay, I guess I got to go. Honey, why is there no kefir in the store? Everybody's buying kefir. What the fuck?
Because we're looking for the next best thing, right?
Yes.
We're always on the search.
Magic button,
and what has been proven since the beginning of time,
yes,
depending on what you believe in, we've all been eating since the beginning of time.
Right? Oh, really? Yes.
Right. So I don't believe that they looked into the data on like what's the latest superfood, like which, and we know certain foods are good for us. We know that spirulina, it's a blue-green algae. It was once thought to be like a regular plant, but it's a blue-green algae, and it is high in protein. It does have an amino acid profile.
But what is it?
It is high in antioxidants.
What is it? Is it a leaf? Is it a vegetable? Like what?
It's an algae.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's an algae, and so it is good for us, and there are components of it that are healthy for us, helping with blood pressure, oxygen flow, antioxidant. It is all those things, absolutely. But if you only consume that, you're missing out on a whole bunch of other things, right? So yes, there are some benefits. You can buy it in a powder and throw it into a smoothie or your juice or whatever the heck you want to put it into. And you may find some benefits. The thing is anything that you're adding into your diet that you've been low in, you're going to see a benefit.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and the whole thing, like when I said, look, when I say superfood has got to do with the individual, that's tied to digestibility. Certain people like for me, oatmeal, I'm fucking burping and I'm farting. I don't get a lot of benefit out of their white rice. Boom, I'm good because I digest it really well. So rice would be a superfood version of a carbohydrate for me. Right. Everybody has certain foods they're going to digest better. And a lot of times you find people that are eating foods that don't digest well, and they're on the wrong side of the spectrum. It's what foods work with you. And keep in mind, it'll even evolve as time changes and a person gets older. Also, wait a minute, this used to work great for me. Well, not anymore. Guess what? You're fucking 10 years older, So our formulas change as human beings.
Jory and John, is that...
But the thing about the people, the superfood, everybody's looking for that next fucking magic button. When in actuality, it's got to do with you understanding what works with you.
I think it's as much, Jory, the psychological effect, right? We're going through a week, we're going through a bad few days. We go look in the mirror, we're feeling bad, we're feeling bloated, we've had something shitty, and then we're like, those beets are going to make me feel better, or I'm going to go to the store and go get some kefir.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
there
like,
are going to be some benefits, but it's also the dose, right?
yes.
So you need to actually have the dosing. So for beetroot, the beets, I mean, there are, especially for endurance sport, there's going to be some
Yes.
benefit there. But it doesn't have to be just beets. It could be, I don't know, like spinach, arugula,
Yes.
those dark greens. Those are also going to have something that helps with nitric oxide in the body. So that's going to help in terms of our cardiovascular system. And there's antioxidants in there as well. But I mean, you got to dose it. You got to titrate it up. Otherwise, you're going to be running off to the washroom or it's just coming down your leg in your marathon. Like it's not,
Yes.
you got to be careful. But so there are some benefits, but also we've seen the highest benefits in some of these superfoods and those that are untrained versus highly trained professional athletes. The professional athletes may be a benefit, usually not that big. It's more of general population just getting into exercise and trying to improve performance that see the biggest benefit in the superfoods.
So that's an interesting point. So what you're saying is that a lot of, if people are waking up today aspiring to be like a super athlete, they're not adding a little bit of beetroot to their diet throughout the week. They're consistently eating great foods. They're not just topping it up with the superfood once a week.
That's right. Yeah, you need to dose it out. It's like for some people that need to have medication, whether it's long-term, short-term, it's dosed, right? You don't hit the highest end right away.
Yes.
It's, you're taking this much. Let's see how you tolerate it. Then we might need to bring it up and then until it's at the place where it's impactful. And then eventually we'll level off.
Yeah.
In the advanced guy, the athlete, he's doing the things that put him in a much better realm. So of course, the superfood's not going to have the impact. You got somebody that has no clue what they're doing. They're doing the best they can, which is not nearly as good dietary wise as that professional athlete. Of course, these things are going to make a bigger difference because the pro athlete, he lives his life in a way where he's not leaving so many leaks in the bucket in his diet. So he's just by the way he currently lives his life, there's not going to be an additive that's going to give him that bump as the person who has no clue.
And I liked what you said earlier, John, like as we age, some things may not be as well tolerated. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I work with, those that are in their 40s plus, and they've done a lot of damage over time just because of how trends and marketing of food have come up. So we're busy. So it's a lot of convenience. What I have to do with some of my clients is we do an elimination process and we take a bunch of things out, and it's a process. You have to be committed. And then we slowly add back in to see, did you allow your gut to heal? And once your gut has a chance to kind of recover, then you'll be surprised. It's like, oh, I thought I was lactose intolerant. I thought I was gluten sensitive. That's different than celiac disease. I thought this and that, but really their gut was so inflamed that once they gave it a rest, so often a low FODMAP diet is used, for example, so decreasing certain types of carbohydrates for a period of time, and then you add them back in like garlic, onions, all these sort of things. So then when you bring them back in, it's like, you'll know which foods are offensive to you and which ones can be brought back in. So it is true. Like as we age, we are doing damage. And so we have to take some time to be able to recover. And as in, if anyone's going to start any new program, make sure it's the right time for you to start. Maybe not if you're getting ready into the holiday season and you're shopping and things. That's a little stressful. So
yeah.
Well, and here's the thing: I love what you're talking about with elimination diet, Jordan.
Yes.
Good shit. But now, for those listening, that sounds like a big undertaking, which it is, because, like even Joy said, you got to be patient, you got to be committed. So, for all of those of you that want to just test the waters with elimination diet, one simple step: eliminate the fucking processed foods, and the odds are your gut health is going to increase drastically, and you'll be done with your elimination process. But you've got to have the nuts to stay away from the processed foods, because you do it for 3-4 days, you start to feel a little better, and then you go back. You got to commit. Once you're like, it's the gut health. When you get that shit out of there, when the stomach is forced to deal with digesting a bunch of stuff it doesn't recognize, your gut health turns upside down. So if you just eliminate the processed foods and you keep it out, if you can have the nuts to do it for, what would you say, Jory? Even a week. I deal with clients all the time. A week in, they're like, wow, boy, I feel so much better. Well, no shit.
That's performance enhancing. If you're looking to get quality workouts, better recovery, absolutely. That's probably the number one performance enhancement that you can do. It's
One
not,
step too.
heifer, like absolutely gut health. Yes, but get rid of the heavily processed foods. I mean, open up a can of tuna. That's fine. That's processed, right? But
Yeah.
it's those heavily excessive processed foods. You knock those out for a week or two, especially for that first week, you will notice a difference,
Yeah.
and you're going to wake up better. You're going to have quality workouts, and you're going to recover faster from those
Yeah.
workouts.
And let's go one more step on the process. I love what you said, Jory. A can of tuna, yes, that's process. Flip the fucking thing around, and if you can't read all the shit that's on there, that's processed food. You don't. When you look at the back of a can of tuna, you're going to see tuna right up front. You're going to be able to read. You know, there. You look at a box of crackers. Holy Christ! Is there one thing you can read on there? Probably not. That's highly processed shit.
Yeah. I know Jory's got to rock and roll here quickly, but I want to lean in for a quick 90 seconds or so. I love hearing you guys two talk about this really simple topic, yet it is so difficult for almost every human. Because even Rick jumping in here on the comments is like, addition by subtraction is a good process. Less is more. And I love that identification process. But Jory, John, you guys must go home some days and bang your head against the wall because you have clients coming to you wanting magic. And just by telling me as your client, eliminate things through it. Oh, I can't do that, Jerry. Okay, well then like it's hard, isn't it? Like it's hard, but yet there's no rocket science to it at all.
No, I mean it's your mindset too. That's why I always say, like, are you in the right space to take this on? Because you want to set yourself up for success, not failure. And of course, failure is learning for sure. But I mean, like, set yourself up to be most likely ready to take on the challenges. So if today didn't work out, what you can reflect and go, what got in your way today? So that way tomorrow, if that shows up, you can work through that piece and you keep on that process. So I woke up late. So then I didn't get to prepare because I didn't prepare last night because I was busy doing homework with my children, whatever.
Yeah.
So take note of those barriers. They're going to show up again, and then figure out how can you most likely decrease the chances of that barrier being a barrier in your world.
Yes.
I had a client literally yesterday say the same. I wake up in the morning and I'm too busy for the kids. Well, guess what? You're not too busy to open up a package of almonds, slide that thing in your mouth, chew, and do what you got to do. It doesn't have to be complex. It can be so simple. Give your body some fuel of some sort of a whole food, and that is a massive step in the right direction.
Yeah. Jory, nothing tastes as good as fit feels, right? I know that slogan has taken on a lot of different things over the years, and we can change it, but we're not going to go there. And Rick talks about it. You know, I love feeling better more than I love bread. So somebody tuning in right now, I know you love your pizza, you love your cinnamon buns, and then Jory and John talk about it often. Try to find that feeling of how it feels when you don't eat that.
You know, in the gut health, I mean, I know Jory deals the same thing that I do, in the fact that once we get a person's gut health back, they're like, holy shit, I feel amazing. They just didn't know what good felt like. You don't know, when it's like the gut health will take a person, they have a standard of good until they understand good from gut health. It's a new standard of good. They don't know how bad they felt until they finally feel good.
That's what I mean. Like for you two, I got to imagine it must feel difficult sometimes, Jory, like almost cynical or frustrating, because you're trying to tell somebody, trust me, just stop doing that because you're going to feel great. And I can't tell you how you're going to feel until you do it. Because that's essentially what you do, Jory, with your clients. You too, Johnny. Right?
Well, the majority of them show up and they want to lose weight, right? They want to lose. So basically what I'll say is, look, you're not going to have to be hungry. You're going to have plenty to eat, but you got to follow my lead with the guidelines of what I'm going to ask you to eat. So with the fact they know that I'm not going to ask them to starve, I'm not going to ask to do hours of cardio, that's enough interest for them to follow my lead. I need 5 days. That's all I need. And then they're like, whoa, I'm sleeping better. Whoa, I'm more optimistic. Whoa, I focus at work. Whoa, my fucking pants are loose in the waist. Well, no shit. They just keep coming, baby. Let's go. This is the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. Jory.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if they are willing just to take the first step. I realized that our target audience here is mostly men, but I just want to share the story. It was about a female in her 40s, and she was just so tired of being tired. And yes, her body has always been a larger body, but I said, like, your body changing physically is an outcome. What we need to focus is on the steps. And once the next, I followed up with her in 2 weeks. She had lost some weight for sure. That was an outcome. That's great. But she was glowing.
Yes.
She had her joy back.
Yes.
So we have to look at, yes, there are a bunch of outcomes, but it's the joy is more than happiness, right? We all know that joy is a vitality for life.
Yes.
If you don't have vitality for life, what is there? And I could see that switch in her because she felt successful. She had created changes, but she felt good. Her stomach wasn't constantly making noises. All these little things that she was lifting, having her best in the gym, doing her heavy lifts, and all of these things. That weight loss was something that also happened, but there was a bigger picture around that. And when you look at big picture, then there's a more of a why are you doing this?
Yeah.
The way that you look follows the way you feel.
Yes.
If you feel like shit, you're going to look like shit. The problem is most people don't know they feel like shit.
Yeah.
Well, and Lauren comes with a great comment because I can relate to this as well because I've been on this journey with Lauren for I'm going on 8 years now. But it's similar to abstaining from alcohol. You don't know how good you actually can feel until you go for a long time without it. Like I haven't had a drink in almost 8 years. I think it's going on, and same with Lauren. And I don't even know what it would feel like to have one. So again, it's hard to be tangible with feelings, Jory and John. But once you've gone through it, it's like, oh, okay, I don't miss that at all. Right.
Brother.
And Rick jumps in and says our coping skills are unbelievable, but John Anderson's right because sometimes we don't realize what's possible because of it. And again, I know in the coaching jobs you guys do, you're trying to coach somebody to feel that feeling because the result in the mirror is the net result of that. And Jory, you said it best in that.
What's the cost?
Exactly.
What's the cost of not doing it? It's the same thing when I do the emotional intelligence profiling.
Yeah.
It's all about all of these feelings. What's the cost of not feeling anger? There's a cost to it. There's a boundary around anger, but there's a cost. So if we look at all of these things of not exercising, not eating well more often than not getting that sleep in, not taking that time for self-compassion, what's the cost? There's a cost at the end of the day.
Yeah, and the thing about this too is I think that people tend to not realize, like the average American diet gives you the average American disease. So the question is this, do you want to invest your time and effort now and be healthy and have a good quality life? Or do you want to invest your time and effort later when you're sick as a motherfucker and you're just fighting to stay alive? Where do you want, I look at it like I put all the work on my kids up front. I didn't want to have a 27-year-old kid that didn't have a clue how to go out and be a productive human being and, be a productive part of society. So I'm happy to put my work up front. That's the way I live my life. Well, people are like, oh, I'll worry about it later. And then they're fucking 55 and they're spending all their time and energy and in many cases, even money with the state of health insurance, just trying to fucking stay alive. Well, where do you want to invest your shit? Do you want to invest your shit up front and have a happy, quality, long life? Or do you want to wait until it's an emergency, until now you're forced to deal with this shit? It's just, you're going to invest one way or the next. Where do you want to invest?
Yeah. Hey, we've gone overtime with Jory Jansen on the protein break. Very, very grateful. Jory, I repeat myself, but I'm going to repeat it again. Every Monday, Friday, you come on this show, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I tell you, when you leave my day, I lean into our conversations. You're always dropping nuggets. Lauren and I talk about it after. Christina, we're always having great dialogue with great information for the audience. So I'm really grateful for your knowledge, for what you drop on the table, and our comments always support that. So a lot of fun. We started over here, we ended over here, and it's Funny Nation because there's no magic to superfoods. Right? It's eat good food, get sleep. It's just the basic stuff we repeat over and over and over. But hopefully
include them in though. It's fun, right?
Yes,
it's exciting. It's experimental. I think life is an experiment.
Yes.
So absolutely, bring in the kefir. Like there is science behind it. Bring in the spirulina if you like. All that kind of thing. Like please do. Just know it's the interaction and the complement of everything together.
Yeah. Rick says, thank you, Jory. You do rock. And Johnny, I'm going to localize this for a moment with my friend Jory. Jory, our Bombers this weekend, the Grey Cup. So Johnny, the Super Bowl in the States, the Grey Cup here in Canada, the big national championship. our local football team. It's their 5th year going to the championship. So
what team is it? Which team is it?
we are the home of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Oh, right on. Right
Go
on.
blue.
Go blue, go blue. So
Right on.
and our local hockey team lost their 2nd game of the year last night. They've been crushing world records, Johnny. So they lost their 2nd, so I'm just talking to my local friend here, Jory, here about our local sports here. But the Bombers are on this weekend and the Jets are flying high. And Jory, I'm thinking you got a big Grey Cup party this weekend, and I'm thinking you got good clean food on the table. Am I right?
There'll be a bit of everything.
Johnny, kefir and spirulina. She's like, go ahead, just call with the guys on Friday. I got to put kefir and spirulina on the table.
Remember, the sugary junk food doesn't make you fat. Your choice to eat it is what makes you fat.
Oh,
so Jory should be able to put whatever she wants on the table, and people should be able to make the proper decision to have one.
yes.
10.
That's like the perfect slogan for Jory. Jory Jensen, a little bit of everything.
And then the tagline, you have to make the choice.
It's your choice.
That's right.
We can decide to stop off at McDonald's on the way home or not. It's not McDonald's fault.
That's
They're
right.
not the ones
That's
that
true.
that are-
That's true. They
exactly
provide the
right.
opportunity.
right?
But then, Jory, I'm going to stop at the Safeway in the parking lot of the McDonald's so I can go get my kefir and beets to chase down the Big Mac.
Love it.
No, you're going to get a
Beet
Diet Coke.
Beet chips are really good. They're so good. I'm just saying, sweet potatoes, so good.
I love beet chips.
Oh,
I love
that's right.
beet chips.
Jory Jansen dropping nuggets all the time. Jory, very grateful for you. Very, very grateful for all the time you give us. Thank you so much.
All right,
Thank
take
you,
care, you
Jory.
guys.
Awesome. All right, Jory Jansen, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the Protein Break, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. And we're running overtime, but that's okay today.
Real quick, you know what also I love about Jory? She gives us great nuggets, but she also gives us a wonderful smile every fucking time she's here. And that
Brings
smile,
it.
that's that we need more smiles in the world. And she's a provider of information and smiles every fucking time.
The energy. So, Johnny, it's funny you say, right? Because there's certain people you just want to always walk towards, right? Like Tom Harmon, I felt myself just wanting to walk towards Tom. Christina, like you're like, I gotta go walk towards.
And you actually do. I don't think you realize you do it. You get closer to the camera when you're really excited about our guests. So you come even that much closer.
Well, I do because I'm like, I gotta talk to Tom. I gotta talk to Jory.
We respond. I mean, we have a certain response to people's energy. Like Monday, when I was struggling,
Yeah.
Jory's smiles made a big fucking difference for me that day.
Yeah.
It
They
really did.
do.
Well, and I
You
know.
know what?
Go ahead,
I was
Christina.
going to say our show, the beauty of our show is that you have somebody like John Anderson going, I just want to say the world needs more smiles.
You know?
And nobody is expecting fucking John Anderson to say that. Somebody is flipping through, they see John Anderson, they're like, what's this douchebag going to talk about?
Yeah.
And he's like, we just need more smiles in the world.
Well, you
Flinner,
know, check this out. On that level, I just got to just kind of attach something to what Christina said. So Terry gets home yesterday, and she was fucking tired, right? And so our life expectancy work was just what was good with her energy levels. But what I realized when she walked in the door was we only took what she had to give. That's a better way to put it, but when she walked in the door, right, and I gave her a hug, the first thing I realized is I the most important thing for me to do right now is to find a way to make her laugh, because she hadn't laughed in days and she was dealing with such traumatic shit. Yeah. And so, as we kind of settled those conversations, I just was looking for the way to do it. And we had a really, really good laugh, and she had some really big smiles. And it's that, she went through a week of dealing with her really stressful shit where that was not a part of her life. Yeah. And when we realize how powerful that smile or that laugh is on a daily basis, and we can actually find a way to smile at someone or accept a smile or create a laugh or give a laugh or have a laugh, it's fucking powerful.
Well, Johnny, you talk about it too. Your brain actually doesn't know the difference. So if you start smiling, even when you're not feeling great, it sends signals to your brain
and it
just
starts
as
dumping
though
the
you
good
would
shit.
be smiling regularly.
Yes. And it starts when those muscles in your face do that from a smile. Your brain starts pumping the good shit into your bloodstream. I mean, hell,
So when you're feeling rough, just It's good.
True. It's true. We got Rick jumping in with
got it.
comments here. Scientifically proven that smiling changes your emotional state. And those who see it, a smile spurs a chemical reaction in the brain, releasing certain hormones, including dopamine and serotonin. And I got to tell you,
Rick.
Rick's just rocking. Rick, you want to come on the show and be our
You want to
our smile expertise from Rick Clout here joining us mornings in a lot with Keith and Vince. I'll tell you.
Going back to Jory's smiles, I mean, that's how the whole conversation started. She brings those are real, sincere smiles that have an effect on anybody that's watching her. And that's good shit.
Yeah. Okay. Flinner Rick's in. He's going to join us. And hey, but before we go any further, and I know the show is we're just off track here, which is awesome. No big deal about that. We're going to do the brand bite here in a quick second. Then we're going to come back with a couple topics. We work towards wrapping up the show. But Johnny just said something, Nation, that you got to hang on to before Johnny goes for a break here. I know he's squirming in the pants.
I'm wiggling, baby. I'm wiggling.
No, gentlemen, today you have life expectancy work to do with your partner. I love that.
Did Jory said that?
You did.
I thought you said Jory.
No,
I thought you said Jory. I was like, yeah.
Ron talked about life expectancy work with Terry yesterday. For those of you who tune in regularly, we know that our wives will live longer if we have sex with them. And we've just learned at the beginning of the show that cuddling makes a happier marriage. So if you cuddle, and then if things are going great, have sex with your wife, and then she'll live longer. So, gentlemen, I invite you today or this weekend, life expectancy work is on the task list. Rick, life expectancy work for you.
It should be a daily box to check.
Hard to argue that. All right, Flynn, let's get Johnny out of here. You get yourself some brand bites. We get some content up there on the screen. And then we're going to come back, and I want to talk about, so we were talking anxiety. There's a 34-year-old female out of New York that struggles with vulva anxiety. Gentlemen, like, come on.
I guarantee you she's not the only one. And I guarantee you we're going to have to define what vulva is for 90% of the crowd right now.
Tina, but we want to teach men to fucking chill out, man, because we don't need to be treating our women, creating anxiety over a nice, intimate experience.
Yeah, I mean, we got to see what she says. It may not be an external thing. It may be internal. We don't know.
There you go. Flynn's up with the brand bite, and then we're back with vulva anxiety.
The vulva team. Never thought I'd say that. Again, questioning my life decisions. Here I am, folks. I'll never be able to run for office. All right. Confidence comes after. Let's start again. Confidence comes after, not before. Here's something that nobody tells you about confidence. It doesn't show up before you take action. It shows up after. I used to think that confidence was a prerequisite. I was waiting for it. I thought that I had to feel ready before I posted, before I shared, before I put myself up there. Spoiler alert, I've literally never felt ready. And you're never going to feel ready. Confidence is built by doing the reps, not practicing the reps, not researching the reps, actually doing the reps through showing up when it's messy, uncomfortable, and really, truly far from perfect. The first post that you have, it's going to feel awkward. I guarantee it. The first comment that you make, it's going to feel really cringe. It's going to feel ick. And that's okay, because confidence doesn't grow in comfort. I feel like that's a John Anderson one right there. It grows when you prove to yourself that you can take action when you are scared, when you are not ready, when you're terrified, and that's okay. So here's your challenge for today. Do the thing that you're avoiding. Do it. Please, just do it. Because you're waiting to feel ready, and you're not going to feel ready. Make the post, send the DM, start the project, get the idea rolling, take one step, no matter how small. You don't need to feel confident again. You just need to begin. Yes, it really is that simple. I have entered my no fucks era, and I promise you, if you take today's brand bite into effect, you will be one step closer to entering yours. You got this.
Boom. There you go. Christina Flynn with the brand bite, usually around the top of the hour. We had extremely fantastic conversation with Jory Jansen today, so we run a little bit late here today. Dropping nuggets here every single day. Christina, I don't know if you can see me laughing in the green room when you get up there, but when you start these things off, man, I'm just fucking howling because I can just see your brain thinking with, what am I doing here?
Just going, I just did a fucking tease on live internet TV for vulva anxiety. If that's not a mind fuck, you want to talk about never being ready? I'm never ready for that tease, folks.
And then Rick is like, only on this show. Hey,
Only
Dugan,
on
are
this
you still
show.
here? Are you still here, Dugan? Good to see you here this morning. Oh, man. Jack Dugan, good time. Good morning. Good to see you guys out there as well. Listen, we are going to keep the show rocking and rolling. Jimmy, are you ready to rock and roll here? I'm just going to turn a little bit of tunes on to keep me happy, but we're going to keep this show flowing along here. We got Johnny got to rock and roll in about 5 minutes. I got something we're going to talk about here, and then Christina and I are going to do Community Corner. Do Creator Spotlight. We're going to fucking get out of here. We're going to get out of here for the weekend. But listen, gentlemen, you might have a date this weekend. You might be meeting a young lady this weekend. You might be going to hang out with your female this weekend. And you might not realize that she might be battling some anxiety. She's thinking, oh, I'm going to go be intimate with this fellow, or I'm going to go have sex with this fellow, but she's being anxious. Well, guys, there's a young lady in New York that has felt anxiety, Christina, Johnny, about what her vulva looked like when she was 13. And then a teenage boy asked her all about it. And at that time, she recognized that, she says, something is wrong with me. And Christina, I'm glad to have you up here because I'm going to think that there's a lot of females that, my choice of words, a lot, many, plenty, some females that go through this. And Mrs. Sedgwick is her name. And Johnny, she said that her anxiety stemmed from the slang of referring to having an innie or an outie vagina. And Christina, some women have vaginas where their labia is visible and some don't. And this young lady complained about the fact, and she was anxious. We're talking about anxiety today, that my vulva anxiety grew through my teens, eventually evolving into a self-hate about herself.
Mm.
And she felt different. She didn't want to spend time with men. She didn't want to spend time with boys because she was teased. So anytime she was going into an intimate situation, this anxiety came overneath her. And she's like, I don't want to go be intimate. Growing up, she says, I saw no representation of vulvas like mine. And uneducated comments made me believe that I wasn't normal. And then Christina and John, she goes, after her first sexual experience, a cruel comment came out about her vagina that was made by somebody. And she says, it escalated into this dark shame. And she says, my vulva shame didn't completely heal up until a recent trip where she wrote a book called Flip Through My Flaps. True story.
Okay.
Owning it there, baby.
An exploration of the vulva. She took something that was transformatively negative in her life and has used it as a platform to educate other young ladies out there who might be experiencing some of these same challenges to saying, hey, it's okay. You're normal. Christina, let's talk about this for a moment. And I'm serious. I know we can make humor about this, but I'm serious because we started the show with anxiety. We started with Tom going into a situation. I'm going to be anxiety. I can't imagine a young lady going into, and John, we talk about it with men, right? Erections and so forth, right? Guys, you're going to go hang out with a young lady and she doesn't know, you might be making her feel pretty anxious. Christina, let's talk about this.
Yeah, I mean, the challenge here is, and she alluded to it, it's representation.
Yes.
So growing up, I'm sure it was all very similar. Like I grew up Catholic, so that's a whole other story. But there was representation of one type of vulva, and we didn't call it vulva, we called it vagina. I literally, within the last year, realized there was a difference. I did not know. Judge me if you want.
Yeah.
But we're only seeing the representation of one kind. And I'm drawing a total blank, but I actually watched a documentary similar to this conversation, that this woman, her entire study was on like the differences of how vulvas and vaginas represent in different women. And she was doing like a very artistic approach to it, but with the goal of showing and having representation, having media show that literally everyone's is different, but we only see the look of one type. And because of that, if yours is different than that one type, you're obviously made to feel like an idiot. It's like, do we only see circumcised penises in media, or do we see uncircumcised penises? Like very similar thing. Because then you're meant to feel like, well, is mine weird? I don't know. I grew up with sisters, so I had people to talk to about it, and there was representation around all the time. But that's not what she's talking about. She's saying, like, I didn't see myself.
That's
And whether
exactly.
that's a body part or whether that's a physicality, whether that's a skin color, whether that's a religion, like all of these things really matter to people. And it had obviously a very deep defining effect in her life, to the point I love that she's owned it and she's taking an approach to writing a book, which I'm sure was incredibly self-healing for her as well.
Well, and John and Christina, not so much write the book, it's a picture book of pictures of her vulva to say,
of her own. Okay.
Here's mine. And she said, after seeing my work, after seeing my work, I love hearing from people who have decided, get this, I love this too. And this is what I love about this show. It's inspiring. People saw the book and they decided not to go forward with their labiaplasty surgery.
So
that's happening a lot.
Somebody's like, oh my God, my vagina is almost horrible, so I gotta go get surgery. And then they read this book and it's like, oh, actually, I'm normal like that girl over there.
Well, yeah, and right there, we got to get this. That's what I go. I'm going beneath the actual topic. The topic is really, really powerful. We're fucking bred to be normal, you know. And what we need to be bred is to be fucking unique in ourselves. And you know, you got, if you're whatever your differences are, they should be embraced. But we're not taught to embrace to be different. We're taught to fucking get in line. And so it's really difficult for someone that is different before they've learned to be themselves to handle it. You know, I mean, I was the same way.
Yes.
You know, I was kind of forced into, you know, being myself unapologetically because of that's how I learned to survive, so to speak. But for someone that can actually get in line and stay in line, then it's like, holy shit. Then when you do have some differences, all you want to do is hide them because you're taught to be in line. You're taught to be normal. Go ahead, Christina.
It's an interesting perspective that I heard recently, almost about like parenting and how, if you look at us from an evolutionary perspective, we spent a lot of time with parents, right? There wasn't a lot else to do. You would spend a lot of time with your nuclear family as you grew and you evolved. As things have gotten busier and parental obligations have become much deeper than they've ever been before, kids are spending less and less time with their parents. So in those formative years, they're not able to go to their parents in those moments when their brains are developing and they're searching for society. They're searching for connection. They're not getting that connection at home. And so they're seeking it out in their groups. And in their groups, they're listening to and they're getting information from people that are going through the same shit that they are.
Yes.
So there's no different viewpoint to be able to present something in a unique way. So all of that formative work that they're doing it among each other. And they're obviously molding into one another. There is no uniqueness. And that's before we get into fucking corporate. And that's before we get into this world that's like, shove all those parts of you aside. So I think I thought it was a really interesting perspective that I hadn't really thought of like, when you're able to spend that core connection time with that nuclear family, there's really a lot of beauty. And I think you talk about that a lot, John, that as a parent, you can influence in the best way possible.
Yeah. And it's like, you're so correct, Christina. In our current society, the parent doesn't have, it's almost like, think how many words are getting digested, how many words a day are going in your kid's ear. The parent probably doesn't have the highest count of words. So, I mean, somebody else or some other people are getting more words into your kid's ears, which is influencing them in God knows which direction. You know, as to where there was, like you said, there was a time when that wasn't the case. So now what is the influence? I mean, it's pretty crazy. And the thing about it is this evolution happens and we're not really aware of it. And so we just keep kind of morphing into these, you know, it's like, we're almost like you said, Christina, we're kind of morphing into one, when in actuality, we need to be morphing into our individuality, but that's not happening.
Yeah. Hey, you're hanging out with Keith, John, Christina Flynn. Mornings and Live with Keith and friends. We're working towards wrapping up our show here. Johnny, I think you got to rock and roll, brother?
Yeah, it's time, baby.
Johnny's got to rock and roll. He's got a busy weekend ahead of him. We will be back Monday morning. Busy loop. Back Monday morning with Johnny, 8 o'clock Eastern time. which is middle of the night on the Pacific Coast. And Johnny, we got Rick coming with some closing comments for you, brother. John's right. Some children hear about 21,000 words a day. And how many of those words are coming from your mouth, Mr. Parent, Mrs. Parent?
Yes.
Right.
This dude's he's dropping some pearls.
Rick, man.
Yeah, we're going to get Rick on the show.
Yeah, we got to connect in the LinkedIn DMs today.
We're going to get Rick on the show coming up here soon.
We've actually been talking about this for a while. So
right.
This is just a nice reminder.
Johnny, highlight from today, brother. Highlight from today or from the week from you, pal. And listen, I know the week started out difficult for you and your family.
I think what it comes down to is I think that, every time, one of us has some more, vulnerability, it's like Christina was dealing with, she was dealing with a major problem with, trying to get rid of the pacifier. I remember going through that. And I guess what I liked about this week and even last week is the more that we kind of display our challenges and our, the vulnerabilities that we have, the more chance we have to affect and touch those that are our audience. So I like the fact that, we're not hiding the shit that's going on with us. We're hanging it out there for everybody to realize, hey, this is life. This is what we do. This is what we have to deal with. And we do the best we can. And it's okay.
Exactly. And that's why I thought today's conversation with Tom Harmon was awesome, man. He walked up to the stage just naked, essentially going, hey, man, I was anxious as fuck to be here. And you know what's crazy, John and Christina, is that the moment his mouth started talking, it was like this, wasn't it though, right? You saw it. You just saw him. It was like, okay, I'm here.
Yeah, I think all of us, just being open books.
Yes.
I think that's we're getting really good at that. And I like the morph of the show.
I do too, brother. All right, pal. You have yourself an awesome day and a great weekend. Send our love to Terry. Good luck with your life expectancy work today and over the weekend. I'll keep apprised of mine as well, Johnny. And Nation, listen. Sometimes life expectancy work has to be your own, right? So whether it's with your partner or yourself, life expectancy work is important. And Johnny, I love that new term. That is the new term, Flynn and Lab here. Life expectancy work, the LEW. Do it daily. Mornings in the lab with Flynn. Johnny, get the hell out of here.
I've learned a lot about the life expectancy work, both with partners and without on this show. Let me tell you.
See you guys in a couple of loops.
You betcha. All right, Johnny, take care, brother.
Later, Johnny.
All right, Jimmy, we're going to keep the show rolling here. Jimmy's going to do some life expectancy work with his family out there in the Philippines as well this weekend, Christina. But listen, let's keep moving the show. Here's what we're going to do, Rick and Nation. We're going to do the Creator Spotlight Community Corner, and then we're going to work towards wrapping it up. Christina, we'll put business and branding on the shelf here for today, and then we'll come back to it early next week as we continue to tweak that segment. I still want to lean into yesterday's segment was great, the Martha Stewart segment. And truthfully, I want to get that one post-produced really good before we do another good one here today. But hey, listen.
Yeah, I like it. I
know that there's somebody in our community corner, Creator Spotlight, that you put on the table that was talking with yesterday or on the feeds, or I saw his content and I was like, hey, we should celebrate this guy. Like, yeah, let's do that. So,
yeah.
Listen, today, let's do this. Today, we're going to feature a remote career coach. Hey, Flynn, I'm a remote expert.
You are a remote expert.
No, I might have done some remote work.
You didn't know it. But when we showed it to you, we learned.
So listen, I started a remote company back before the internet, as the internet was coming to life back in the early days, like back when they were stitching together. Yeah, back when we used to call it the www dot.
Yeah, didn't you have to use a string with cans on the end of them, and you have to
remember
people.
Yeah, www.icu.moderation services was my remote company. But hey, we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about our creator, a remote career coach and advocate. Yeah, this creator has spent over a decade, Flynn, helping professionals design and land remote careers they love. And hey, Flynn, Jack Dugan getting a remote job. True story. Yeah, he's like, he's never done remote work before. So Dugan, brother, you might like this because the creator we're talking about today is a champion of remote work. Yeah, with personal experience working remotely from 8 countries. Flynn, this guy's like a digital nomad, probably, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
This person.
Hopefully without the douchebag.
Oh, you said it, not me.
Digital nomad without the douchebag.
Ooh, cocaine.
Yes.
Eggs. We're talking vulvas. We're talking.
Yes, that is a model right there. The digital nomad without the douchebag. You're welcome.
I'm inviting folks to just judge the book by the cover of our show and then hear us talk. That's exactly what I'm saying. But listen, This fellow is passionate about helping others escape the cubicle and embrace the freedom of remote work. This fellow is the creator of Escape the Cubicle. Through his newsletter and coaching programs, he shares his strategies to build impactful resumes, personal brands, and fulfilling remote careers. Jimmy, I'm getting it set up, man. Today's Creator Spotlight for Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. And the drum roll. Rick, are you drumming the drum roll, please, Rick? Trey, get those drums going. I get this going on. Here it is today. Boom. Wes Pearce. Yes. Oh, baby, Wes. I was on your feed yesterday, Wes. I was looking at your content. I might have connected with you. I might have followed you. Flynn, Wes Pearce is a resume writer, remote career coach. The guy's from Lexington, Kentucky. You ever been to Kentucky before? I've never been to Kentucky.
Yes, I have.
Oh, look at that. Eh? He's the remote guy. Flynn, I thought I was the remote guy until Wes Pearce shows up. So anyways, this guy's the remote guy. I want to arm Flynn, let's get Wes on the community corner for the Creator Spotlight so he can nominate somebody. But more importantly, so I can arm wrestle him for the remote guy.
No. That wouldn't align with what we just said. Digital nomad without the douchebag.
Oh, right. Yes, forgot about that part. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
So Wes helps people find the remote career they've dreamed of, not in more time, but in less time. Yeah. You can join 30,000 people on his newsletter. It's called the Escape the Cubicle newsletter. Actually, I thought it said something else at first, but that reminds with cubicle. It starts with a P, but I won't go there. But anyways, Escape the Cubicle newsletter with Wes Pearce. But Flynn, why are we celebrating today?
What is wrong with you? Oh my God. We're trying to celebrate someone. We're like, this is awesome. Like, we can get him on Community Corner. He's a great guy. He's doing great things. And you're rhyming cubicle with a P.
Well, but Wes, I can tell Wes has a great sense of humor. He's a resume. He's from Lexington, Kentucky. I think everybody from Lexington has a great sense of humor.
No, yeah, I'm sure Wes is just fine with it.
Why are we celebrating Wes Pearce today for our Creator Spotlight on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends?
Well, so I think a lot of people online talk about being a digital nomad.
Yeah.
He doesn't say digital nomad, which I think I'm going to guess is purposeful. And my suspicion is because oftentimes when we're hearing people talk about digital nomad, it is folks that are in their early 20s that don't have many responsibilities, are just saying, just pick up your life and move to wherever, Colombia, to Venezuela, to wherever, right? Because it's cheaper to live there and you can do way more and you can make money online and the money is worth more, which is obviously incredibly enticing. But that is not a reality for many people in the world, because we have responsibilities, because we are taking care of our children and you're not going to uproot them, because you're taking care of your parents and you need to be there for your family, because it's not that simple for a lot of people. And I think what Wes is doing is he's presenting a different perspective on it. And he's very tactical in the way that he's doing it. We talk about the joke being like, you're never really going to want wellness or fitness help from somebody who obviously is physically unwell or unfit. And the joke being like, you never want to get food advice from a skinny chef. The idea of like, he's doing it also. Wes is out there. He has worked from 8 different countries. He sees the opportunity that's available to so many people, and he wants them to benefit like he obviously has. So there's a personal connection to it as well. And I think he's providing people with great opportunities. Remote work can be scary if you've never done it. And remote work also, you know this, Keith, does not necessarily include a digital nomad life. It could be from, I've been in corporate for my entire career. I want to work from home. And working from home, you and I both know, brings many different challenges. If you're not prepared for those challenges, they can be really overwhelming in a time when you don't necessarily have the support systems around you. So I think what he's doing is indicative of a lot of work we're going to see, and a big trend that we're going to see as people switch and say, I'm fucking done with this. Like, I can't live like this anymore. There's opportunities online to make money for in the digital world. And folks like Wes are going to teach them how to do it, which I think is really encouraging. But it's also very necessary support because isolation, community, lack of community, there's a whole slew of other challenges that come with remote work. So we need people like him supporting.
Yes. Wes, we want to have you on the show, man. More importantly, I want you to teach me how to grow my Substack business. Wes Pearce looks like he's a Substack expert as well, LinkedIn expert, remote expert. Wes Pearce, who we are celebrating today on Mornings in the Lab, Creator Spotlight Community.
And I want him to come on and nominate somebody else. Like, he knows this world better than we do. So open our network, bring us folks that we don't know about that come on the show and tell us about who they are.
Yeah. So Wes, that's how it works, man. We are celebrating you. We've nominated you. We put the light on you. What we have an invite for you is as follows. Wes, we would like to invite you to Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. Come hang out with myself and Christina Flynn at 9:30 Eastern time right now for a 12-minute segment to celebrate somebody in your network who you want to nominate for the Creator Spotlight. Good job, Flynn. That was awesome. Jimmy, that was great. I was hanging on Wes's feed yesterday. I was quite intrigued by the stuff he's doing. And I'm excited that we're here to celebrate him on the Lab here today. A good show. Another great show here today. Anxiety. Tom was great, man. I'm telling you, I'm repeating myself. Tom was great. We want to have him back here again. And you know why, Christina? Because there's a lot of guys, we both know, a lot of guys struggle with what Tom talks about. Like, honest to God, I'll let you clear your throat there, but a lot of guys. I know Johnny's very open about it. I know I do. I wake up, my battle my brain, but it was nice just to hear Tom, because Tom's not a therapist. Tom's not like some big doctor. Tom's a normal dude. Tom's like all of us.
He's taking his experience and he's saying, like, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to tell you some things that have worked for me, some things that I've learned in working with other people. And I do think that this is another trend we're going to be seeing a lot of, is like, I think it's what we would call a coach right now, but it's that delta between like professional support and no support. Right now, it's a very big delta. And the professional support, there's always space for that, of course, but it's not necessarily going to be sustainable for a lot of people. So who are those people that we can go to, that we can get support from in these specific areas that don't live on either side of that are just, they're not doctors, they're not therapists, but they know and they are living in this world daily and they can provide you with that kind of help. I think we're going to see the next level of that over the next 5-10 years.
I agree with you. And I love how you just said that, because in many ways, Christina, that's the show, isn't it? Somebody's waking up in the morning going, I'm kind of stuck. I discovered Keith and Christina and John and Marty. Oh, I'm going to come back tomorrow. Like, look at Rick Dugan, look at Good Time, look at Rick. I'm sorry, Jack Dugan, look at Rick. Like, we're this kind of like this accountability partner that's here every single day. We're not a doctor. We're offering just inspiration, and we're not offering you medical advice, but maybe something triggers in somebody's brain to go and get that next step. Right. And you know, and Tom is that conduit. We heard Tom talk about many of his friends, wives, and partners going, oh, go talk to Tom. Right. Because maybe Tom's the first person you talk to before you then have the courage to go and get that professional advice. And Christina, go ahead.
The statistics are pretty overwhelming that therapy as it exists as an industry is built around the idea of talk therapy. And talk therapy isn't always something that a lot of men statistically are comfortable with, or it works for them. And so it's almost like the one fucking industry that was built around women and like what stereotypically we like to do, but that may not be the case for men. And so what Tom is doing, he's not saying take the talk out of it, but talk therapy as a practice is not something he's practicing. He's doing it more related to the coaching, the programs, the like, let's break this down. And we saw it very easily. He creates a real safe energy and a real safe space for people, almost unintentionally, but you know it's very intentional. Yes.
Could you imagine having a conversation with Tom and AJ, our mind performance coach? Like how good you'd feel as a man or a woman sitting down talking to those two. Like, talk about a safe space. Like I could just, I'm getting goosebumps walking into the room with AJ and Tom. I would feel like I can share my innermost darkest secret to those two.
We all have men in our lives that have tried to seek out therapy, and we've seen the challenge that they've gone through to find the right support. Because with therapy, I talk about this often. I've had a psychiatrist since I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
It takes you a while also to get that right person. And oftentimes that access is required to get that right person, to find that right person. That in and of itself, putting yourself out there to find that person is very vulnerable. You have to open up. It's a very difficult challenge for a lot of people. So what I love about what we're trying to do, the people that we're working with in our network, is that hopefully you can develop a little bit more of a comfort and a relationship with them here first.
Yes.
And then if you want additional support, there's already, that they're a safe space already. So when you reach out to them, hopefully there's a little less discomfort. Hopefully there's a greater willingness on your part to actually reach out and take that first step, which is often the hardest.
Yeah. And Rick, I appreciate your kind words, Rick. Rick just says, this show launches my day like that catapult on an aircraft carrier slings a plane into flight. I appreciate you, Rick.
Rick, are you a writer? I feel like if you're not a writer, you need to write. And if you're not writing on LinkedIn, we got to get you writing on LinkedIn, because you have a great way of posing things and taking
agree.
like complex and making it simple, which is a skill. Anyways, we're pumping a lot of smoke up Rick's ass today.
John Anderson. Yeah, we can let John just go
Totally.
smoke. Yeah, exactly. Great start. And who can't use help taking off? I will say this one last comment about this conversation about just anxiety and Tom and AJ and using talk therapy and so forth. And Rick says, thank you very much. Yes, thank you, Rick. I totally forgot what I was going to say, because that's what we do here on a live show.
We were talking about anxiety and AJ.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I'll come back to you over the weekend.
I'll talk about, listen,
there's that thought that I had in my head.
this is my life. You've been in meetings with me how many times where I'm like, and number 3, it's gone. There's only 2 points there. We're going to stop there. Here's what I love. We often talk about mental health in the context of broad mental health.
Yeah.
And then when we get deeper, we go to like specific diagnoses that are very much related to doctors and physiology. Panic attacks is not something we hear a lot of in this conversation. Anxiety more broadly, yes. But I think Tom talked about it too. If you've experienced a panic attack, it's very difficult to explain to anyone. And oftentimes you've experienced it before you even tell anyone. Like I have experienced panic attacks so badly that I've called ambulances because I thought I was dying.
Dude.
Like I thought I was dying, and I'd had them before, but I was like, oh, I'm going to die here. Like this is the moment I'm going to die. And I called an ambulance. So they are a next level kind of experience where if you've had them, you know what that feels like. And you also know then that not a lot of people are talking about it. And not a lot of people, at least in my world, I won't say broadly, not a lot of people are having this discussion so that folks are more aware of them when it comes up. Because the beauty about panic attacks is that you kind of sense them when they're coming. You kind of know, and they're worse. For me, I've had my worst ones when I've been drinking too much, not sleeping at all, not eating the right foods. So that one that I had, it was right after the Christmas break, because I'd been binging and I'd been partying and I'd been doing all this stuff. And that's when I went into it. So there are a lot of things that we can do to make sure that we don't get into that state. And there's a lot of tactics, very, very tactical things we can do that if we feel ourselves going down that road, we can bring ourselves back. And I think that's why the conversation is so valuable, because you don't want to get to the point where you're calling an ambulance. There are things you can do, and there are things when it feels out of your control that you can control.
Well, you know what, Christina, as we wrap this up too, you know what I'm thoroughly enjoying as we continue to create this platform as much as anything is that that society typically grows up with celebrity culture.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking to normal folks. We got Tom Harmon on the show, is a normal dude. Just normal dude in the office, normal dude down the street, right? So instead of having to worry about what some celebrity does for their what helps them, we're talking to Tom. And we're talking to AJ. We're talking to Jory. We're talking to normal folks that have normal challenges like you and I and John Anderson, and we're having normal conversations. And from my point of view, relatable. right? So, and it's happening every single day on this show. People are like, hey, I want to be on the show because I'm relating to something that you said. So
yeah, and
anyways.
it's not to say we don't bring in the celebrity stuff, because there's inspiration. There's a weird connection that people have with that, and I'm giving the preface to what we're doing next week, which is revealing the morning secrets of a lot of the folks that we love that are celebrities, like the Kobe's and like the Jocko Willocks, all that kind of thing. But there's a space and a time, and I think the people that we are bringing on this show and the people that we want to be able to speak to are people that you will see yourself in, hopefully. That you will see they're not that much different than you, and there are different options on the table.
All right, Flynn, let's get out of here. We got a day ahead of us here. I just got a note from our good friend Celine over there in the Philippines. They got a big typhoon coming. So we got craziness, man. So we got some work to do for my friends in the Philippines to get us ready for next week's shows. As Christina said, we got a big week of shows next week. We're going to lean into morning routines of some of the big stars out there and the big humans who we all look and idolize. But at the end of the day, they all wake up like we do, right? Mm-hmm. So the Mark Wahlbergs, the Rocks, the LeBron James of the world, and so forth. How do they start their day? How do they kick ass? How do they have big success? And then what can we take out of it, or what do we not want to take out of it? We'll talk about that next week. But Flynn, good show today. Thank you. I appreciate you. Another great week. Jimmy, thanks for pressing those buttons here today. And John, Marty's at the office. Jory, appreciate you. Rick, appreciate you. Jack Dugan, go get it, brother. I know you got a big one here today. Who else we got here in the feed here? Lauren, I love you, baby.
Good time has been here. Yeah, there's lots of crew.
Awesome. All right, everybody, have a good one. We're going to get out of here. Going to go to work. See you guys. Let's get out of here, Jimmy. Ciao.